Hey guys, welcome back to our podcast. We're finally back after
5 months.
5 months.
5 months. I'm gonna go back and look. It's been a long time.
Yes, it has. A lot has been going on,
Yes.
especially in your life.
Yeah, it's my fault. I'll take full responsibility for that.
We blame her.
Yes, that's okay.
For our absence. No, it's been busy.
Yeah.
Both sides, but
Holidays and then got engaged. So that's
Yeah.
been a whirlwind trying to plan a wedding and everything else that having to keep up with life as well.
yes, very exciting.
Yeah, we're gonna try to start doing this again. We'll see how regular we can be.
Yeah, probably very regular, but
We just wanted to start.
life.
Yes.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Craziness.
Any updates in your life?
Not too many updates like you.
Sometimes that's good. No news
Yours-
is good news.
Yours is a lot bigger. But yeah, tell us about wedding planning. How's
Yeah.
that going?
It's going good. It was kind of test your relationship a little bit. Just a lot of stuff to get sorted out and on the same page, and you have a lot of opinions coming at you the minute the ring goes on your finger.
Yeah.
And trying to just get quiet with the Lord and your fiance, that was key. But we have a wedding planned for December of this year, and I think we have all the major things out of the way now. And then now just all the small details that are just as important, but aren't as big of a time crunch when you're booking big vendors.
Right.
So it's been fun. Engagements, we've learned a lot already. It definitely changes things, but it's been good and it's strengthening our communication and our relationship big time.
Yeah.
So, all
how
exciting
has
things.
engagement changed? Like your relationship?
Communication has suddenly become like way more important. I mean, it was always important, but with engagement, you have to just have an open communication no matter how painful it might be in those moments, and just
Yeah.
express like what's going on in your head or your needs in that time, and making time for one another and not being so focused on wedding planning.
Yeah.
Because yes, it's a huge day to plan, there's so much to do, but at the end of the day, it's a day, and you're going to spend the rest of your life with this person, so you
Right.
can't neglect that part of this season
Yeah.
and life. And then navigating just, I want this, he wants this, where can we compromise, like trying to negotiate in a loving, healthy way too, just so we're not walking over one another. That's been something we've had to learn as well,
Yeah.
because it's about him too. It's just as much his day as it is my day,
Yeah.
because it's us as a couple being joined as one.
Yeah.
So
True.
it's been a very learning season.
Yeah.
I'll say that. Yeah, but it's great. We're super, super excited. We can't wait for December to come. But
Yeah.
we're already been engaged for, well, I think almost 5 months now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so it's pretty much been since you got engaged.
yes.
We haven't
I
been
think
on
so.
here,
Like
guess.
I said, it's me. I'm the problem.
Oh, that's so funny. But that's good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Everything's going good.
Yes.
Yeah, so your wedding's in December.
Ari's a bridesmaid, of course.
Yes.
Can't forget that detail.
The most important
Yes.
piece.
Yes.
You found your dress.
I
Which
did.
is pretty.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There's so much that goes into planning a wedding. I thought it would be fun.
Right.
I'm trying to have a better mindset about it, but
Yes.
it's not been the most enjoyable thing, because it's decision overload.
Right.
I'm not the most decisive person on most things. I'm usually pretty easygoing, but you have to make so many decisions.
Yeah.
So I'll be glad when it's over.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Except you want to enjoy it too.
I know.
It's hard.
it is.
It's really
It
hard.
really is. Yep.
Yeah. It goes with every part of life
Yeah.
too, right? You're just like when you're younger, you want to be older because you just want to be done with school or done.
Yeah.
It's just like always you're just like I want to get to this point and I want to get to this
Yes.
point. When I get to this point, I'll be happy. It's just like
My brothers and I always wanted to grow up fast. My mom would say, "Don't say that."
Yeah.
'Cause one day you'll get to that point and you wish you wouldn't have wished your childhood away. And
yes,
I mean, I love where I'm at. I love my life and everything, but
right,
there's a lot of responsibilities and a lot of change that's coming and has
Yes.
come, of course.
right.
But yeah, you don't get those years back.
No, you don't. Yeah, I have my daughter who's 5. She's like, I'll be sick soon, and then you see it like they want to be, older and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, no, stay little.
Right.
Stay little, enjoy it. You have literally no worries in the world
Right.
other than someone taking your toy. How nice is that?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
We have one
but-
life to live. We just want to wish it away.
Yeah.
The most of it.
It's true. Enjoy every hard season and
Mm-hmm.
really enjoy every great season
Yes.
too.
Yep.
But
There's
even
always
the
something
hard,
to be learned.
yes, yeah, even in the hard seasons,
Yeah.
you can always look back on hard seasons and see the good in it.
Of course.
So that's always, even though you might not see it in the moment,
Right.
afterwards you could be like, oh, I see why I went through that or why that happened.
Right. Because I know in every hard situation I've been in, I'm grateful for it. In the moment, I'm like, I don't want to really be living this right now. But
Right.
afterwards, I'm so grateful because it launches you forward into who you're supposed to be, into your destiny, and it strengthens you.
Yeah.
If you let it. I mean, you always have a choice in the matter. You can let it drag you down and become an excuse, or you can take on the victim mindset. But if you keep a good outlook, you keep your faith in the Lord, it'll transform your life.
It's true. And my husband always talks about like try to be uncomfortable, try to put yourself in positions of being uncomfortable because that is what grows you
Right.
and what makes you become the person that I think more of who God wants you to be, because I feel like God is always putting us in situations of being uncomfortable.
Totally.
Because it really grows you.
Mm-hmm.
Like with anything, whether it's working out, you're uncomfortable, but you
Right.
get stronger in the uncomfort. And like talking to people, if you're like hate talking to people, you have
Right.
to put yourself in those uncomfortable situations of
Right.
talking to people, and then you get better at that. And then as soon as you get comfortable with talking to people, soon you're gonna have to talk to a group of people.
Right.
So God's always wanting to grow you.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's all of life. We should really be striving
Totally.
to be uncomfortable.
Right.
Because that is what grows us. And this society is like, I feel like we're all striving to be comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is the easiest thing? How to make our lives easier?
Right.
And,
Like
I'm
everyone else.
Yes. And like in this world, like we have like so many things that we can be comfortable in.
Right.
Like we don't even have to leave our house to go anywhere anymore.
Nope.
You,
Everything's at a touch of a button.
yeah, you can like order something
Right.
and then it's there. You can watch it like church online.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even have to leave your house. You can order off Amazon. You could just be there.
And then we're missing out on the relational component of life, and that's so
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
We were not made to be alone, and that's
Right.
not just regarding a spouse. Yes, that is part of it potentially for some people, but God wants us. He wants a family,
Right.
and that includes friends. That includes acquaintances, work peers.
Yeah.
That's everybody.
Yeah. It's just getting really crazy. But what I've learned a lot is putting myself in uncomfortable positions really is growing me
Mm-hmm.
as a person. Even
Yep.
though you want to like, no,
Do
I
anything
don't,
but that.
I don't want to do that. That is the opposite of what I want to do. But
Yeah.
it's good.
I heard someone say one time, if your prayers don't scare you, you're not praying big enough. And that always stuck with me, that which goes right into what you were saying. You want to be stretched because that's where
Yeah.
growth happens.
Yeah.
Like when you're working out, it hurts when
Yeah.
you're using a muscle you're not normally using.
Right.
But then afterwards, you're stronger. And that's
Yeah.
just like in life too. It might be painful going through something, but it's for our benefit.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be painful either. I mean, it's
Right.
situational dependent, but
Right.
don't let pain scare you.
Right. Yeah. I agree. We can't always just strive for comfort.
Mm-hmm.
And the society is huge on that.
Yeah.
It's like, how do we make our lives easier? Well,
Right.
we got it real easy now. And I feel like people are getting worse into depression and anxiety and all
Yeah.
the things. And I think there's like a study out there on if you put yourself in more uncomfortable situations, your brain actually gets stronger.
That's
Like
amazing.
your mind gets stronger and your ability to handle things better gets stronger.
Wow.
mentally. And so I feel like even with children nowadays, like being on their phones all the time or like playing video games all the time and just being isolated is really causing a problem mentally and physically with children.
Believe it.
And they can't handle things as like handle hard things because they don't know how to do it.
No. Well, you look at the generations of our grandparents and even some of our parents, and then obviously you go back. There was major global issues happening. Wars were happening.
Yes.
And yes, I know like 9/11 happened and we had like the war in Iraq. I always get confused. But like our generation didn't really have to endure anything. We didn't have to go, like, do a draft or have to make sacrifices to fund the war. Like our life's been super comfortable, and I'm including myself in this.
Yeah.
But you look at society, and because of the abundance of comfort, they can't handle anything when just the smallest thing happens.
Right.
And you can't blame them because they've never had to go through anything big and catastrophic and life changing.
Yeah.
But it's taking a toll on the future leaders of America.
Yes.
Which is kind of a sobering. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. Sobering thought.
Yes.
That if they can't handle, our generation can't handle the smallest thing, what is going to happen when more wars come? Because I don't think we're quite in the end times. There's a lot of debate on that, but it's going to happen. Like, it's going to be not fun to be. It's not going to be peaceful. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I know. We have to get stronger, and that is getting in uncomfortable situations to make us stronger. Like, we have to, like, in the old days, like, they were just always put in uncomfortable situations.
Yes, always.
But we have to actually strive to be put in uncomfortable situations. We have to try to be uncomfortable in this world, whereas back then they had to try to be comfortable. To be comfortable, they had to really try, whereas it's the opposite now.
Right.
And so that's what we sadly have to try to put ourselves in uncomfortable situations, which is unfortunate, but also fortunate at the same time. We're very fortunate to live in the times we do live in, where if your garden doesn't do great, well, oh well. You know, like if you're running out of food, you just go to the grocery store.
Right.
It's really easy times that we live in.
My grandma, to this day, she's 95. She'll be 95 this year. She lived through the Great Depression, and she won't eat a potato. Because all they had to eat back then. That was the only thing they could afford.
Yes.
She lived out on a farm in Nebraska, and that stuck with her because that was such a big part of her life.
Yes.
So I think she would have been, I don't know, she lived through it a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, my grandma's 101, and she remembers the Great Depression. Yeah. Like, my grandma had her house, when she was a little girl, her house caught on fire. And it was the day of a parade where all the fire department was at the parade.
Oh my goodness.
So they didn't come to their house because they didn't have any water left because they used it all for the parade.
Oh my gosh.
And so their house just caught on fire. They had to live in a tent until her father built their house back.
That is unbelievable.
Yes.
Wow.
Just crazy. And they had animals, like her father was a farmer, so most people were, a lot of them were back then.
Right.
But like they had their farm, they had their animals to take care of, and their house caught on fire, and they had to go down to the river to get water to take a bath. It's, it was
so different.
Yeah.
All you do is turn a faucet.
Right. And now all we have to do is we have warm water.
Yes.
We don't have to wait for dad to go first and bath and then mom, it's just, to me it seems like it should have been opposite.
The kids first.
Yeah. The least dirty person.
That's true.
Should be in the water first.
Right.
I understand like the father was like should be honored and have like the warmest bath because he had a long hard day at the farm.
I get your point though.
But I'm like, Because that's where they get "don't lose the baby in the bathwater." That's where they get that saying.
Oh.
Because by the time the baby took a bath, it was like black. So you didn't want to lose the baby in the bathwater.
Yeah. I remember my dad. There were 6 in his family. He lived in Nebraska, and yeah, all 6 kids like use the same bathwater. And my dad's, I mean, he's in his 60s, so he's not that old.
Right.
Yeah, it helped shape him into who he is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not even like it was our grandparents' generation. Like,
Right.
it was our parents' generation too that had to make some sacrifices.
Yes. Yeah, they
You're
did.
so blessed now.
I know. So easy.
Yeah.
Turn on a faucet and there's warm water
Right.
for us. Clean water.
Yes. Thankfully. I
Can
don't
you
know.
imagine?
No.
I feel
I
like
love
me
it.
being as weak-bodied as I am, like I would get like an infection of some sort.
They were made of steel or a different breed of people. I don't think I would be cut out for that. I'll admit it. I like the finer things in life.
I know. Like, why am I so weak? I don't think I'd be able to live taking a bath with disgusting bath water.
Yeah. Oh, it'd be so different.
Yeah.
So grateful we don't have to do that.
I know. Yeah. Gratefulness.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was listening to a podcast earlier today, and they're talking about how, well, like, way back in the day, like, a super rich man basically had less than we have today. Right?
Wow.
Like, they still didn't have, showers, right? They still had to wait for water to warm up, or however they took a shower or whatever, or whereas we could just turn on a faucet and we have water, right? Or
Right.
like the food that we have today was like a rich man's dream back then, 'cause, like even the richest man still didn't have what we have today, even the poorest
Puts into
of
perspective.
us. Yeah.
Well, is it true that like, what is it, like 95% of Americans are richer than like the rest of the world?
I have no idea.
Maybe it's like 95% of Americans are like in the top 10% of the world in like financial status.
Yeah.
So it's like even like our poverty level are still considered rich by global standards.
Yeah. Yeah,
What
I
are the
mean, I can see
percentages?
that in like certain parts of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For sure. A
Yeah.
lot. I mean, I've been to places that are just so poor, and I
Mhm.
couldn't even imagine living like that.
Yeah.
So sad.
It is.
So we really are blessed.
Yep. Which is another reason to just kind of shifting gears a little bit, like to get into politics, and you don't have to at least vote. That's kind
Right.
of the most important thing.
I
Vote.
know.
We have that right in America.
Yeah.
We should be gladly using it.
Right. Yeah, we should. Because we know, like, we just went through the whole caucus process, and how much our vote during that really matters.
Right.
And that's who, like, goes on the ballot.
Yeah.
And stuff. So it's a big deal.
Right.
But you also have to be really smart because these are politicians we're dealing with.
Yeah.
So it's a struggle, but I'm not a big fan of politicians because they're a little bit shady.
A lot of it shady.
A lot of it shady on both sides.
Yes.
Like, it's really hard to discern whether they're good people or not, and it's like, oh gosh. But more people really need to get involved in the caucus process.
Right.
Because it really does make a huge difference.
Because there are some precincts that they had nobody show up.
Right.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Ours was the biggest, and we had, was it 14?
Yeah. Or no, not even.
It was 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, ours was by far the biggest.
I know, we had 11.
Yeah, which is, and there was pages upon pages upon pages of people,
Of people.
registered Republicans in
Yeah.
our precinct.
Yeah.
And it was either 11 or 14 showed up. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like embarrassing
It
to
is.
talk about because it's like, and some didn't have any.
No, not a one.
0 people.
No. And for those that don't understand the caucus process, you have to start the precinct level, and then you vote for delegates to go on to the upper assemblies. So then you have district, which is like a grouping of precincts. Then you have county. Then you have your House district, your Senate district, and congressional district, and then you have state.
Yeah.
And at each one of these, you're voting for, except district. District, you just kind of more vote on who's going to state and who's going to the higher assemblies.
Yeah.
But all the other ones past district, you're voting for the candidates to be on the ballot through the old-fashioned grassroots way.
Mm-hmm.
In Colorado, you can petition on the ballot. I don't know if that's how it is in every state.
Yeah.
The grassroots way, which is the caucus process, is more so how the founding fathers intended it to be.
Yeah.
So then you hear speeches from these candidates that come and try to win your vote. And that gets confusing because you have two people, one saying one thing, the other one saying the complete opposite. They're both Republicans, and you have no idea who's lying and who's telling the truth. Or if they could both lying.
Yeah, or they're saying the same exact thing.
Yes.
But the other one of the people is calling out the other person for being a liar.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What if this person is a liar? Then I don't want to vote for them because I don't want to vote for a liar.
Yeah. Yep, like a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah.
It is. I'm not saying this to discourage people. It's frustrating, and that's a part of me thinks like maybe they make it hard and confusing to deter people from getting involved from a conspiracy theory side of what's going on in our government.
Yeah.
Because it's a mess. Republicans need to get it together because it's not the most smooth, and then you have all the infighting happening.
Yeah.
Like there was yelling going on at one of them amongst Republicans.
Right.
And I think it's biblical. What Ronald Reagan also said, it's like a house divided cannot stand.
Right.
And that's something we can take a lesson out of the liberals' handbook. They, no matter how wrong they might be, they have dirt on everybody, so they're like very unified.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we should blackmail people. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But just being unified goes so much further. And you look at how successful they are in turning, besides fraud, but they're good at rallying people together behind a cause around a person because they're so unified. There's not so much fighting going on.
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of people now just are focused on like the presidency.
Yeah.
Whereas these little tiny things, like the little, people who, mayors and like school board and just all these little things that we should be voting for are extremely important.
Yes.
Like more, like I don't want to say more important than the presidency because the presidency like is still important, but it really does make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Who you vote for in your counties and in your state.
Just look at what happened during COVID. What like the counties were doing, like Chicago. That one was very radical. It was like the city was completely on lockdown.
Yeah.
That was at a city. Then you have places like Florida and South Dakota where they're like, you're not going to tell us what to do. And they stayed open and didn't have any mandates.
Yeah.
So those are all local positions. I mean, down to the city level of Chicago. And that's not the only one, just for an example. And then up to the state level too. Because it was state dependent. I remember when they enforced, I think it was the mask mandate in Colorado. We were in Nebraska. And it was like freedom, and then when you crossed the border, you had signs everywhere saying you have to wear masks, and it was like you're walking with draconian, I think that's the right word, state.
Right. Oh, it's so annoying.
And all you did was cross a territorial border. That was the only difference.
Yeah.
The supposed sickness was the same, and but it just, they respond so differently. And it affected people's lives. People lost their business. Businesses still haven't opened since COVID. Life changed.
Yes.
All because of local politics, not federal, not president.
Right. Because the state could just be like, no, I'm not going to do what you tell me to do. And so we really focus on your state. Really get involved in what's going on in your community. Like, it is still as important as it was when COVID happened. We need to get involved. We need to just know what's happening in our community and
be informed.
Yeah, be informed. And I'm surprised at how many people don't. Well, I'm not surprised because I was not informed, but on how little I knew about the caucus process, like that I didn't even know it existed.
Right, me too. Me too.
And I'm like, why didn't I know that this existed? Like, that's weird. I thought I just registered to vote and voted for who's ever on the ballot.
Right, you got the ballot mailed to you a couple
Yeah.
weeks beforehand.
Yeah. And then you just do that.
Right.
But no, there's so much more before we get the ballot.
Right.
It's I didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Why didn't nobody tell me?
I remember going it to the very first time. It was in 2016. I don't even know how we heard about it. But my mom and I went. We didn't pursue anything. We just kind of going to see what it was like.
Yeah.
And then 2 years. What year are we in?
2024.
Yeah. And then I don't think I went. Maybe it was 2020. That was the first time I went.
Oh.
No, I think it was 2016. Doesn't really matter. But yeah, and then 2 years ago, I went through the process from the precinct to the state. And then this year, we both did it. Because you went with me, you just went as a guest 2 years ago.
Yes.
Because I made an oopsie and didn't tell you about it until it was too late. Learned my lesson this year. I didn't know what I was thinking. But I didn't really know what to expect myself.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm not going to drag you along when I don't know what I'm getting myself roped into.
Right.
And then I wasn't expecting to go on, but then I kind of got voluntold, I think by my mom. And then it just, I'm like, well, what the heck? Might as well go through this, see what
Yeah.
happens.
We're like the youngest
I know,
ones.
by far, which is
But-
so sad.
I know. It's gonna be me and you then.
Yeah.
Because next year, who knows how many of
I
those older
know.
people are.
Yeah, it is. I think everything, there was somebody that came up too and made a comment about our age.
Yes.
Because it's so,
So many people.
shocking to people.
Yeah. Truly. I'm like, well, I know it's shocking, but we need to get involved.
I know.
Like, why are we the only young ones here?
I know. I don't even know what to do about getting, like, friends. Because besides you, my other friends really just kind
I
of,
don't care
No.
about politics.
And
I know.
I'm not saying they have to necessarily care, but there should be some drive because this is the country that they're going to raise their kids and they're living in this.
Right.
They're young. There is so many decisions that are going to be made in our lifetime that are going to affect not even our lives, but generations to come. So even if it doesn't make sense, even if it doesn't pique your interest,
Or an inconvenience.
yes, yeah,
We still need to do it.
yes,
Because that's our duty as citizens.
yes,
As people who can decide who's going to be in what. I mean, you don't realize how much of importance you are until you're there.
right,
And then you're like, oh my gosh, why didn't I know about this?
yeah,
So, learn about yours. It's probably already done for
Yeah.
everybody, though.
Well, depending on the state, some of them are late. I
Oh,
think
really?
like Nebraska doesn't start. It was starting now,
Oh.
so. But then I think Iowa was like one of the first one, which was like months ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's so state dependent.
Yeah. Well, look in your state if you're here or not.
It's 2 years down the road too.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's not complicated. They'll walk you through it. You can't mess it up.
Right.
All you do is you go, and if
Yeah. Show up.
you're gonna get voluntold, you volunteer yourself, you get nominated,
Yeah.
and you don't have to make speeches usually. But if you do, I mean, we didn't have to because the
No.
turnout's been so low.
Right.
There's not really competition. If you wanted to go on, you could go on.
Right.
If there would have been 50 people volunteering for 10 positions, you probably have to do a little campaigning real quick.
Yeah.
That happened 2 years ago, and then one person just graciously dropped out, so no one had to like make a
Right.
speech or anything.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. But yeah, get involved, please. It
Mhm.
really does make a difference if you're a Republican.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're a Democrat, don't get involved. Just kidding.
Yeah. Exercise your right to vote. Well, thank you so much for watching. Sorry it's been so long. Again, that was my fault.
Yeah, we're gonna try to stay more consistent,
Yeah.
and yeah, hopefully it all works out from here.
Yeah.
But yeah. But
Alright.
thanks for watching, guys. Please, again, like, comment, share, subscribe,
All the good things.
all the good things. And hopefully we'll be back.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.